on the way to Horror Nights.
One is for the daytime.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So first things first, I kind of want to address why I didn't post on Sunday. I really strive to take my channel seriously, and that means sticking to my schedule of posting Wednesdays and Sundays. So because I didn't post on Sunday, I did want to share with you guys the reason. As you all know, I have a cat, Blue, who has frequently been on the channel. He pops in here and there, attacks the background all the time. So the past couple of weeks he has been getting really sick. The doctor said that he had a mass behind his eye and on his pituitary gland, and unfortunately it had grown so fast that within 2 weeks he basically went completely blind and could not walk anymore. Within 2 weeks he had declined so rapidly, and we actually had to end up putting him down, and it's been really hard on me. I know he's just a cat, but he was my first pet and very much my baby, so it's really been hard on me. So I just haven't really felt much like filming, and I really just wanted to take some time for myself to get back into the swing of things. But I don't want to dwell too long on sad things in this video. I do want to tell you about my trip to Florida. I went to Universal Studios in Orlando and I saw Halloween Horror Nights. I have been one other time, and that was 2 years ago. So if you're not aware, Halloween Horror Nights is Universal's way of celebrating Halloween. There is scare zones. Now, scare zones to me are similar to if you have ever been to Six Flags during Halloween. There are people chasing after you, just kind of scaring you as you're walking around the park. These are going to be your scare zones. And I call them scare zones, and they call them scare zones because they are designated to a specific area. They can't just follow you around the entire park. Now, there is something different from this year that I noticed from 2 years ago. 2 years ago, they were really compact and they were really elaborate. This year, I noticed that they really did broaden the areas for the scare zones and kind of make it harder to tell where they were. Some of them you definitely can tell, like the Chucky one, for example.
Oh my God!
There's giant Chuckies everywhere, and you can see when you're going into the scare zone. But there was literally a part this year, we were all standing trying to find a bar, and we're just standing huddled, and my mom looks behind her and there's this like scary pumpkin guy that's like right there that we thought was one of us, and we didn't even realize that it was one of the scary guys because he was just hanging out with us waiting for us to turn around and realize that he was just some scary dude. My mom freaked out. It was hilarious. But during the day, it's really funny because they're still there. Just none of the scary people are there, and most things are covered up with a tarp. So you'll be walking and people will be using these things that are scare zones as stroller parking. just be strange props that you don't really know what they're used for during the day. But then when you come during the night, you're like, oh, that makes sense. So there are 5 different scare zones in total, but I'm pretty sure that one of the girls who worked at a booth told me that there was 2 extras that weren't on the map, so they're trying to trick you. But the 5 that they had listed was the Chucky area, the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, really, the Harvest area, which was really cool.
That guy moves. That guy definitely moves.
The Twisted Tradition and the Vamp 85. The Vamp 85 was also one of my favorites because it was kind of like vampires from 1985 going to New Year's Eve, and they were just all really sassy and funny, and it was almost like these giant parade floats were everywhere, and they were just kind of sitting everywhere, and then the vampires were just really sassy as you were walking through rather than scary, and I kind of liked it. They do about 10 haunted houses, sometimes it's more, and the houses switch every time they put it on. So when I went 2 years ago, they featured different houses than they featured this year. So this year, I'm just gonna read to you the list of all the houses. Stranger Things, based off of the TV show. I found that it was specifically the first season, then the second season, so that was good because I was only halfway through the second season and I didn't want them to give anything away, so that was good. Halloween 4, I have seen before, and that's the one that has the little girl who dresses up as the clown. I was actually very surprised that they didn't have her running around more inside of it. Unfortunately, I don't have any footage from in the actual houses. They're very, very serious about taking footage in the houses. There's people walking all around, like actual workers who are walking all around, and I knew that if I took any footage at all, I'd be kicked out. They use real props and real costumes that Universal has from filming the actual shows or movies. So I knew if I took any type of video or film or anything that it would be bad. Poltergeist was actually my favorite one out of all of them. I didn't think it was going to be. Stranger Things was great and I thought that was going to be my favorite. That was number 2. But Poltergeist ended up being my favorite because they had like this huge zone when you walked in that was cut out like the pool, and they had little raindrops coming down on you, not enough that you would get wet, but just so you could feel it. And then you would go through, and it was awesome the way that they interacted with things. It was really making you believe that you were in like a haunted area. You'd walk through and something you thought was like just a blank wall would all of a sudden flash and there'd be something behind it. They just used the room really, really well, which I thought was different than just doing the whole fog and people popping out and chasing you thing. So that was my favorite. They had Trick or Treat, which is based off of the movie from the early 2000s, I believe, which is when it came out, which the picture is like the big sack guy and he's got like his little lollipop half-eaten pumpkin thing, and so that's the Trick or Treat guy. Horrors of Bloomhouse, that was specifically Happy Death Day and The Purge, even though Bloomhouse obviously is a umbrella company which produces lots and lots of horror movies. It was just specifically those 2. They also do horror houses that are kind of Universal brands and not really movies. Carnival Graveyard is one of theirs. It's supposed to be like a rusty carnival that the people that used to work there come and kill you. To be honest, that was my least favorite one. I found that it was really not cohesive as you were walking through. I kind of just kept getting confused with what I was doing. Patient Zero is pretty much about zombies, and yeah, zombies. Easy. Scary Tales was a really cool one. It's taking the fairy tales and making them really creepy versions. So there's a part you walk through and like Rapunzel's scalped and wondering what happened to her, and then like Humpty Dumpty is cracked, and it was really, really cool. So that one was awesome. Seeds of Extinction is about a meteor that hits the earth and all of the plants and algae and everything that take over after all of humanity has been wiped out. And then finally, Slaughter Cinema is a bunch of kind of like spoof movies that they made up that you would go to a drive-in movie theater to see.
Goodbye from good old Mr. Carver, of course. But even the most happy families have secrets to keep.
And then you're kind of walking through the horror house. I don't know why I keep saying horror house, haunted house. And it's like the big poster of the movie, and then the movie kind of like set that scares you as you go through, and then it's like the next movie, and then that set, and then the main person like scares you, and then the next set, and then but that one was almost a comedy, so that one was a lot of fun too. So those were all the houses. And then when you were also just walking around the park, which by the way, Horror Nights is exclusively from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the Universal Studios side. So the actual park itself, Universal Studios, is open from 10 to I think usually 9. During the time that the Horror Nights is, it'll be open from 10 to 5. And then it closes for an hour, it reopens at 6, and then it's 6 to 2 for the Horror Nights. And you need a special ticket just to get in for that time. Now, my family did purchase the Express Pass, which lets you go into a special line, kind of similar to Disney's Fast Pass or Front of the Line or whatever. And because of that, we were able to do all of the houses within one night, which 10 houses in one night. It was awesome. Now, just talking to people as I was going around the park or in past experiences walking around seeing the wait times for some of these houses, we literally talked to somebody who the entire night from 6 o'clock to 2 went into 2 houses. 2 houses, because that's how crowded these things can be. The lines will be almost 3 hours for one house. I did 10 houses in one night. The Express Pass is obviously an upcharge and it seems really expensive, but I did 10 houses in one night. So just so you know too, the Universal is made up of 2 parks. There is the Universal Studios side and there is Islands of Adventure. Both of them do have a Harry Potter section, which is personally one of my favorite sections. The Universal Studios side has the Diagon Alley part, which has the Gringotts Bank and all the little stores and everything. That's when Harry goes to get all of his stuff going into school. And then the Islands of Adventure side has the huge Hogwarts castle. It has Hogsmeade with all of the snow-covered village and everything.
Dave, I want to do another spell.
And that's where you can get the butterbeer and everything like that. They also put in a train that connects them both so you can really feel like you are getting the Harry Potter experience. And then my other favorite thing to do is the mummy ride. And we did all these during the day. During the day, we just did normal things. Like I said, the Halloween Horror Nights isn't open until 6. So during the day, it's just your average experience at the theme parks.
Get those hands together!
So we stayed at the Portofino Bay Hotel, and that is a 4-diamond award hotel, and it is just gorgeous. It's my favorite hotel I think that I've ever stayed at pretty much. It looks like Italy. I mean, you see it. It's just gorgeous. And the fact that it has a water taxi that is free and takes you to the park and City Walk is also a plus. If you don't feel like taking the water taxi, you can also walk. It's probably about a mile, maybe a mile and a half to the park from the hotel. So that's also really awesome and makes it super easy. If you want to go to City Walk, you want to have dinner, you want to have drinks, or go clubbing with your friends or something. There's so many things to do on City Walk.
Look how far we come now.
If you spend the night like I did till 2 a.m. at Horror Nights, and then you want to come home, then you can just take the water taxi. They have the water taxis running until 3 a.m. for Horror Nights, and then you can crash in your bed. So it's all really helpful, and then you don't have to worry about any driving, any traffic, nothing like that. So the Portofino Bay Hotel was super, super helpful, and one of my favorite hotels that I have ever stayed at. Yeah, I really, really love Horror Nights, and I recommend that all of you look into it if you have a chance and you're thinking about it. This is my experience there, and I hope you liked it, and I will see you guys on Sunday. Thank you. Bye.